Alrighty. Looks like we are looking good to go. You guys know the usual, just getting some check-in, make sure the technicals are all good. Happy Thursday. Thank you guys so much for joining back. Awesome. Looks like we are good to go. Welcome back to MTV TA, guys. I'm your guys' host, Trent Manager, per usual. All my returning patrons, welcome. All my new patrons, of course, welcome back. Really glad to have you guys here today. Man, we got a lot of great readings to go. It feels like just from Tuesday. I mean, I feel like we had a pretty good move yesterday, just on the charts, and today got lots of other good news going on. Looks like we're really coiled up and looking ready for an all right fall. As we approach the winter months. So let's kind of go over to our agenda, what we want to go over today. So we're gonna go over some NBA TopShots, partnering with Google. So Dapper Labs, very very interesting. I do own some NBA TopShots, big NBA fan. Also going over to AMC. We're gonna go over to how AMC is accepting Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin for their movie tickets. So pretty cool to see. People may not think this is a big deal, but this is a pretty big deal. And we'll get into that as we go forward. Blockchain users shift towards Dapp gaming. We're also going to talk about that. Some play to earn that we've been talking about over the past couple weeks. These have become accessible. Some people I've heard playing up to 17 hours a day, making a full-time living playing these games. So something definitely to keep an eye out. Also going to look at some Bitcoin profit taking from the options expiry. So we know every month we have option expiry for futures and leverage and futures contracts. So that's going to be very, very important for us to cover and how that kind of guides the market sentiment. This is just the total liquidation chart. So we're going to cover that as well. Also going through NFT, OpenSea, a little bit of drama over there actually with the NFT realm. Going to go over that briefly today. Also go over some Patreon stuff and some charts, and that's all we have for today. So we can hop into it right now. Let's hop into our first reading, which is going to be our NBA Top Shot creator Dapper Labs collaboration with Google. So we talked about it actually on Tuesday, how Google was introducing injections for Web 3.0. A lot of their development is they are really, really interested in Web 3.0 and what it has to offer. So for those who may not understand exactly what Web 3.0 is, right now we're in kind of Web 2.0, which is a bit centralized. Got entities here that can tell you what you can and can't do. Facebook, Twitter can take down posts for not saying the right things, wrong topics, wrong hashtags, algorithms. You guys all know the whole 9 yards. So really where we get into Web 3.0 is that we have a decentralized way, and you kind of see on the thumbnail our metaverse title, and we're going to kind of cover the metaverse more and more as weeks go on. And it's a very, very, it's kind of a hard concept to understand if you can't really think about it in terms of VR perspective. But really where metaverse is going to come in and Web 3.0, the way that this is going to take us by storm is going to be, I believe, just a huge tidal wave of us moving forward. Sorry about the outside, guys. It's pretty crazy today with trucks and motorcycles. But getting back to the article today, Dapper Labs CEO from Google came out and said, hey, this is something that we've been anticipating. Dapper Labs has been in partnership with a lot of other major companies. Mark Cuban's been a big backer, of course. He owns the Dallas Mavericks. But really getting into over how Dapper's going to help scale and continue to push NBA Top Shot and other team lineups. I know we've seen NBA Top Shot. I know we had some MLBs in there. I don't think the NHL has done that yet either. Let's see what else major sports are missing. Football has kind of been there, but there is not a NBA NFL just yet, or sorry, like an NFL kind of like Top Shot yet, but that will be very, very large, I believe, when that does come around. And there might be, I know Gronk and Tom Brady and a lot of those other athletes have had their own collections, but in terms of a whole array of series like Top Shot has, not quite yet. But you're seeing kind of the first frontier step as to how Google wants to scale, a lot of this flow blockchain and keep this NFTs running. So just from the bottom here, successful NFT marketplace industries, NBA Top Shot collections have sold almost 700 million in volume within the year it launched. It remains one of the most popular among enthusiast markets from now. OpenSea, Axie Infinity, and CryptoPunks have also been, outperformers in the market. So NBA Top Shot is making, top tier lists right now in terms of, revenue and what they're providing in terms of also players making their NFTs and collectibles and so on. So this is actually really exciting just because I collect NBA Top Shots, and this is something that I will continue to do because I also collected hard cards too. And those things hold crazy value. You guys know, some of those LaMelo Ball and other Drew Holiday. A lot of those other cards are going for thousands of dollars now just for packs that for packs that you could buy for $8. So really good concept. Really keep an eye on this for any other projects you like. You don't have to do NFTs just for money. Like if you like the artwork, you can buy the artwork. That's completely fine. I do it as well. So also going over to CEO of AMC. This is probably the best one we're going to talk about today. Not for the fact of it being a meme and this, but just in terms of what we're really going to ingest in this. So we're going to switch the narrative here for a second. So AMC CEO accepts Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash for tickets. So with that being said, we know AMC's hasn't been doing well. The pandemic, big meme stock, lots of pumpage, has pretty much been back in the picture now due to Wall Street bets and a lot of other trading and leverage things along those lines. And now I read an article the other day, or not the other day, but we covered it a couple weeks back that from the trading and everything that they pulled in and volume and everything that they put on their balance sheet, now they're actually poised in a position to really actually continue themselves going. So now with this crypto acceptance, I mean, it may not seem like a crazy big deal because we hear it a lot, and I feel like it's stretched a lot, even though it's not. It's the big deal of the fact of now, hey, AMC is not just accepting cryptocurrency as payments. This is actually helping their business in terms of cash reserves, taking less cash on the balance sheet, holding assets that are appreciating in value. So, we've talked about it on here too, is that, in the next 3 to 5 years, guys, like there's going to be a really good chance that we're going to be over $10 trillion in market cap. And for comparison, the stock market is about, we might have to look that up just to get some accurate numbers. Just so I'm not wrong, sorry about the spelling. Let's see. What is the market cap of the stock market? I don't know why what's not giving me a number. What is the stock? Yeah, let's see. There's no way in terms of trillion. I need the trillions number. Gosh, what is market? Goodness sakes, why can I not get an answer? Anyway, goodness, if someone has it, just drop it below. But from what I think it was more than a 50 trillion. It was about a $30 trillion. Maybe not 30 trillion. That sounds crazy. My numbers are getting messed up. But anyway, getting back to how this is going to help not only just AMC, but take cash reserves off the side and continue to boost their revenue as they continue to move forward. So, I mean, not a lot of people are watching movies nowadays. We see streaming service. I mean, that's what with viruses and so on. I'm kind of trying to stay a neutral ground here for everything moving forward, but regardless, this is going to help them on their balance sheet and continue to push them further. And I mean, they're probably going to incorporate, I would imagine they've got a lot of things behind the scenes in terms of incorporating some NFTs or something in terms, if you possibly, I know this was maybe a thought where if most people had, not most people, but some people had AMC memberships and you turn that into NFT. So now, you can present that NFT, or if you have that in your wallet when you go to scan or pay, you can get additional discounts when you go and check out. Or if you go and get candy or like different things, you get certain different other collectibles. So the expansion on this is it's very broad, and there's a lot that you can do. NFTs are not just art based. They carry a long way, and I'm a very big believer of how long these are going to stick around. So great coverage over here. We're going to pay attention to this because this is huge. This is pretty big in my eyes. So I was going over to blockchain users shift their focus towards Dapp gaming. So we've actually had to talk to make sure we're not missing any chats. Going back into this now, going towards play to earn. So Dapp Radar been here for a little while, the rise of DeFi and everything going on, they're accumulating users. So the play to earn model now, I believe, I do believe firmly, as we see the esports realm continuing to, do what it does. We've seen college sports teams now having esports. We've seen, esports as a market cap as a whole become very, very serious in terms of, what it has to offer to the table in terms of the sports realm. I do believe maybe firmly we might end up seeing, I know with the Olympics also, we saw like a lot of additions into different types of sports and activities that now make the cut in the Olympics. So I don't know if you guys remember this previous Olympics, if you watch it all, but there's a lot of activities and different things that made the Olympics that usually aren't typical Olympics, events. So, in my futuristic mind, I do believe that eventually we will have a little Olympics in terms, or maybe even just an add-on in terms of esports, just because the market cap is getting too big to ignore, and the indulgence and the engagement from not only just our generation, Gen Z, but millennials as well. And as we continue to move forward in a digital metaverse world, like this only is going to continue to grow. So this is something really important to watch out. And I mean, if this is something you want to do, it's very not hard. I haven't made a video on it about how to get fully into this, but we covered it enough to give enough avenues to where people can start if they want to. I have done it once or twice. I played a lot of small games, just answered some questions and did some small games for, a small amount of crypto in terms of rewards. But I've been hearing stories of people playing these 17 hours a day, 10 hours a day, making full-time, almost full-time salaries doing stuff like this. I think it's nuts. This is just a different era in terms of how you're going to govern, your life and your finances and what you want to do with your life. This is by far, sorry guys, let me actually turn off this Discord chat real quick. Sorry. But getting back to this is just a different way of how to collectively, do your financial independence. And this is another great way to make, passive income, or if not, take over your entire full-time salary. I've heard it, and it's pretty nuts. Flash forward to August, even here, flash forward to August, the numbers have changed drastically. The report DeFi apps now represent around 18% of traffic, where games account for 45%. NFTs are close to 41%. So it's growing. It's here. The numbers may not be crazy bulging apparent, but things are sneaking up behind to get things to the next level, and I think that's an awesome thing. And now going into some options, as to we know that every single month we have people who like to bet against the market, whether that be shorting or longing or hedging their bets to see and anticipate where the market is going to go. And from there, we've seen a lot of destruction. I do not recommend leverage trading or really trading at all. There are options and different things that you can do to minimize your trading risk, and there are successful option strategies you can do. They are just not very talked about, because that's not the cool thing to talk about right now. It's how can I turn $100 into $100,000 in a week, and that's just usually not how it goes, and that's like the quickest way to really not succeed in this market. So just from the perspective of somebody who just sees it a lot, leverage and trading, especially if you're trading in crypto. Like, if you're trading in crypto, please let me know, because that's nuts. Like, the market is already ridiculous as it is. I just couldn't imagine throwing on 5x leverage or 10x leverage on there, for double the amount that you don't have. So that's pretty nuts to me. But anyway, going back to really where we are, bulls are seeming apparent, but let's not forget what happened in terms of our liquidations. So let's go over to our liquidation chart and see how we are sitting for the past hour. 3.5 million. I love how it says direct. 3.5 million in 1 hour. 6.529 million in 4 hours. 12 hours has 101.43 million. 24 hours, $226 million that has been liquidated. So here are some assets that are some of the most popular traded on leverage and overall in the crypto markets, along with the exchanges: Binance, Oki, Bybit, FTX. Lots of longs. We're seeing a couple of shorts, but that's just how it is. So we did see when was this? September 6th. If you remember our infamous crash that we had here, this was that's exactly why I do not ever feel comfortable putting in longs in times like that, or any parent at all. We saw an absolute flash crash, and we've talked about liquidations as to how if you fall out of a certain range of your losses, or if you don't have a stop loss, that can really burn you. But don't let me scare you away. If this is something you want to do, definitely learn about it. Take your time. Don't rush it. And I've seen people very profitable in this space off this, and it can be absolutely life-changing. But historically, we know buying and holding for the long term is going to ultimately give you the best outcome versus trying to time the market. So this is something I like to put on the table, but let's also kind of take this into consideration in terms of how our price action is going to reflect off this. So when we get people who are longing and leveraging in terms of their trading, especially with money they don't have, that's going to prop up the market quite a bit. So when we have a lot of these longs, and when things don't go their way, we have a lot of swift drops. And of course, as years go on, this will of course shorten as the market becomes more mature. But until then, as a small market cap of less than 3 trillion, we're very susceptible to hundreds of millions of dollars still moving the market versus the stock market, where hundreds of millions can still do a dent, but nothing compared to what we have here. So just something kind of to put on the table. Also, going over to NFT trader for OpenSea bans insider trading after employees rake in profits. So we've seen a lot of different, I've heard a lot of different talks from this. You got people who despise NFTs, think they're absolutely stupid. Got a couple homeboys and a couple co-workers who just absolutely despise them. You got people who are in the middle, just don't understand it really, and just don't understand the value of how something can be worth that much. You got people who are crazy bullish on NFTs. I put myself I put myself on the bullish side just because I'm an artist. I like the idea of, it's not it is the artist sometimes in terms of, what drives the value, but it ultimately is us. When you have something like punks that were the original NFTs on the blockchain, and there's only 10,000 of them, that will drive supply and demand. That's just basic economics. Given the amount of how much they're charging, of course that's where I sit a little bit. But of course that's just what we value it at as people. Why is anything valued that much? That's just kind of a question that kind of comes back and kind of bites you in the tail in terms of that's kind of a question so broad that it applies to everything. But in terms of scarcity and supply economics and the drive of what some of these NFT projects can hold, you could see how they could be worth that much. That's just really how it plays out in my mind, and that's just something to keep in mind in terms of we value what we want to value things at. The economics and the supply behind the project, and what is what it's worth. Picasso, why was Picasso's paintings worth so much? At the time they weren't because he was alive, but usually artists, their art goes up when they die, and of course depending on the environments of the King Henry grabbed that art piece and had it up, that's where things can start kind of incorporated. So other outside events can really play a pact into NFT pricing and what these digital assets are really worth. So really getting into the article, I didn't have any suspicions, but you could see how this could easily be played out. You work there, you work at OpenSea, you're maybe lead designer, you got really good insight into determine what's going in. You see transaction daily going in, who's coming before they even come in, you're verifying, certain transactions in terms of, maybe you're a software engineer, you get to see all the back end. It would be it's like you work at Bank of America, you're a corporate, you know things that most people on the baseline of finance don't know. So you could definitely have an advantage on this. Is this right? Absolutely not. But in terms of how could we have seen this coming, and how people have flipped money so quickly. Some punk, you buy, you see it all the time. If you guys don't follow CryptoPunks like the bot alert on Twitter, I highly recommend it. It is absolutely awesome. Buy for 4 million, sell for 16 million, a day later. It's a real thing. It is absolutely a real thing. But really wrapping up on this, where I think this is going, this is going to drag a lot of unnecessary attention for the SEC and a lot of other individuals who want a cut and also want to know what's going on. So I could definitely see an audit on OpenSea, seeing what's going on, where your assets located, where are they going, who's here. Kind of the same shakedown we see with Coinbase and XRP. But this definitely brought up a lot of questions in the term is, what are you guys really doing over there? And by any means of singling out this space in terms of, crypto's only made for illegals and people, or illegal trades, and people only crypto only care about money, and they're just here to front run and do all this stuff. Like, yeah, most people are here for money. Some of us enjoy the technology more than others, but when it really boils down to really what this is all about, it's a new asset class that we're still learning, and this will continue to evolve. But in terms of the legal practices, we could see a little crackdown here over here as to maybe OpenSea as to what's going on. So be prepared. I don't own any significant project NFTs. I own a couple that are valuable to me, and that I like them, and NBA TopShots, but I personally do not hold a large stake of my liquidity in art pieces. I will eventually. I do eventually plan to do that, but until then, I will probably not do that. But also on the Patreon, I don't want to forget those who have not seen our blockchain interview questions and answers. This is uploaded now. We went over 5 questions that are popular in blockchain interviews. Overall, if you are moving into the space for developing, you just want to learn something new, or you're really brushing up on your knowledge to utilize a lot of these traits and tricks that we establish in these live streams, please go watch this video. It might be very, very helpful to you, and send it to anyone that may think that it's helpful. So I just definitely wanted to put that out there. So let's go over to the charts now for our final wrap up before we get to our conclusion for the day. We are sitting on the Ethereum chart at 3,582. Overall, we are battling this 3,600 range pretty hard. From what we had yesterday, our move yesterday, and really just overall this week, we're looking good. We've chatted about it throughout the past 2 to 3 weeks now, in terms of we knew September was going to be bad, and I'm not, of course, throwing it out there in terms of, oh my gosh, September is flipped, it's going to be awesome. We're just walking a little bit on tightropes. That's really what I see. We've had some great movements. We looked good on the technicals in September. This drop was really kind of just a flash freeze for a lot of everybody. You know, that kind of just boosted the September, you know, bad month narrative. But in terms of where we are right now, we're sitting exactly where we were before we moved into the month. So we're basically back to where we were September 1st, and it's September 16th. So it took us about 2 weeks to recover to back to where we were. So, you know, either we could sit here, get rejected, and lull back down to how we were and continue to juggle like we do usually in September, or, you know, we could completely just obliterate the September and, you know, just completely, you know, throw the historical thing out of sync just like we did in May. So that's definitely an option on both ends. So regardless, this is definitely what I like to put on here. And I noticed just with, you know, the light TA that I do, since we aren't doing a lot of, you know, indicator coverage, we're kind of going over the brief overview of how I see it, you know, just sticking to the game plan that you already have currently, and just planning for every situation. So if Ethereum hits this price target, I'm going to take this much off the table. If Bitcoin goes down to this level, I'm going to, you know, buy this much Bitcoin, and then, you know, wait until, you know, certain price levels. Having a plan is phenomenal. It's, you know, going back and forth on your plan is usually a harder thing to do, and it doesn't always work out too well in terms of changing up the game plan. So whatever you have, always stick to the rule. And, you know, just remember, it's hard to keep a ball underwater for so long. You know, you ever put a basketball underwater and try to hold it down there or sit on it, and it just goes up like crazy. So this is exactly what's going on right now. A lot of these technical charts, you cannot keep these balls underwater forever. So just the same with Bitcoin. Some important things to note, definitely we are riding that 200-week EMA that we've talked about, being above this. So being above 47 is a very, very good place to be. Definitely closing below that is not a place we want to be also, but definitely being above it right now, and closing above it is a very, very good sign. So we will continue to watch this, just like we talked with Ethereum as well. Worst case scenario, definitely in my mind, we just ride the 200 week, the end of the month. We may see some little lulls down, but we don't close below the 200 week, but we continue to bobble around it going into October. You know, we could definitely see a little bit of a spring, but that's my worst case scenario, is that, you know, we just lull. We just you know, that's all we do. We just range sideways and just continue to pull our rubber band back before we slingshot. So the patience game is here. I mean, at this point, like, it's just nothing really but time as we continue to move forward. And my conclusion really on the market right now, especially for this week as we continue to move through September, is stick to your game plan. There are some opportunities arising in terms of some altcoins, Polkadot, Chainlink, some other really good projects that are Solana, that are looking really, really good for pickups. So, you know, just stick to your game plan. And that's really it. And we will continue to move forward to the winter months, and things will be just fine. So other than that, guys, that is all I had to wrap up today. A little bit shorter, you know, under 25 minutes, but share this with friends or family, anyone who you believe thinks, you know, would value from this information. You know, share the Patreon. Lowest tier is $3. You know, I think for all the information that I give out in the Patreon, especially for the live streams, just for $3, I think it's, you know, you can pay that off with, you know, just buying the asset and just holding an interest account. You know, you're going to pay that $3 off, you know, for the month. So I think it's very useful for everybody. And I don't push it too hard, but I just believe that it's very, very beneficial for a lot of individuals. So also look forward, we're going to get another video published. We're going to be covering some crypto-backed loans as well, how to take your existing collateral and use that as use your existing assets as collateral for a crypto-backed loan. So, you know, to basically, you know, get some money up front that you can go invest in other projects or other investments that you want to. And we're going to kind of give a more in-depth detail on that. It's going to be through the Nexo platform. I have been doing that. Did it successfully this morning. Took out a little bit amount of some USDC to pursue some other investments, some other altcoins, some other projects I see going pretty far in the future. So we're going to cover that. That video should be out, I want to say, next week, because I've dropped a lot. I've dropped like 4 videos this week, 3 videos this week. So I'm trying not to get too burnt out. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Share this with friends or family. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.